Breakhard Orchard. We are continuing the house build today. I have the day off. I am up here by myself, so the majority of what I'm doing is going to be prep work, so that when I have my bride up here with me, we can work on this quickly and get some panels in place. One of the things that I need to do is put splines in the top of these 4 remaining wall panels here. I got that one yesterday before we started putting the panels up. So I'm going to jump up here, foam them, and nail them into place. That's what I was doing just now, was cutting to the right size, and I was using the planer to reduce the width of them. What I had been doing was using the saw to cut those down, and the planer is a lot faster and a lot easier. This is one of the tricks that I learned, unfortunately, about 3/4 of the way through putting the walls up, was that getting splines into the walls, I was having to beat the living heck out of them with a sledgehammer and a block. And had I known that I just need to reduce the size of them a little bit, foam it, put them in, they go in very easily. It's a lot of labor saved, a lot of time saved. There's one video where we only got 1 panel over here on this wall, and most of the video is probably me up on top of the ladder beating with a sledgehammer trying to get it to go down. You have a couple of things that happen. The urethane foam is also an adhesive, and it dries relatively quickly. It cures, and once it cures and binds on that wood, it isn't going anywhere. It's really difficult to get any movement out of it. So for the bottom plate that the panels set in, one of the things that you should do if you're taking this on is go along and trim the edge of it with a saw, or trim it with a planer before you put it down, so that when you go to put in the panel, it goes in easily. I'm getting ready to jump up here and get started on that. It's a beautiful morning. Just want to take a moment to say, if you haven't already done so, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so that you know when we put up new videos and you can follow along. I had to go buy a new foam gun at the big box store yesterday morning. The one I bought off Amazon did not perform as I needed it to. It was losing propellant between uses. So you're supposed to store this with a can on the gun, and the one that came with the kit of everything, all the SIPS panels, it worked great, but eventually it started having problems. It was gummed up on the inside, and it started having problems where you would hit the trigger and it wouldn't want to let go and release the trigger and close it up. I bought a can of cleaner and ran that through there, and that worked fine for a little bit, but it seemed like the seals were just worn out. Now, I had had it for a year, so that's probably not unreasonable. Still, it's going to require a little persuasion, but not bad. Well, that's one. I got 3 more of these to do today, and then I'm on to the next task. What I'm doing right now is I'm putting tick marks on top of these beams. I did this yesterday when we were prepping for this weekend's work, that we put those first two panels up. I wanted to make sure I knew how high I was. So basically, piece of paper here. Be right back. Basically, this entire piece of the roof is one deck. So if you just look at it as a flat deck and just assume this is the back of the house and this is the front of the house up here, what you've got is just a flat deck. From corner to corner, I want to have a straight line. So what I did was come up 4 feet and shoot a laser across at 4 feet up from this other corner. So I could use that as my first reference point. And so I had an equal mark all the way across on all of these, on the walls and the beams in between. Because there's a little bit of waver in this wall. It's not much, but it's enough that if I use that as my reference point, it's going to skew the way I put these panels on. What I was just now doing was I was extending those reference marks by the foot, 1 foot at a time as I go up, so that when I start putting the panels up here, I'll be able to use these reference marks so that I know how high I am up from that ultimate grid line on the corner. I'm just doing the prep work so that when I get up here and start putting panels on, I know that I'm putting them where they're supposed to be. If I'm off 1/4 of an inch, I can fix 1/4 of an inch. But I don't want to have a situation where I really don't know and I'm just pressing the panel in as tight as I can get it when you have 24 feet of panels to put in. Thought I had the camera on it, but I didn't. What I just did over here is I put the first sheet of OSB on here. This is a shear wall, and it keeps everything square. Now I've already got knee braces on all these. These are really, really solid. I'm not worried. I'm just following the plans. That is on there. Tight as a drum. Rock solid. The whole purpose of the shear wall is to prevent any kind of racking that could occur in the event that you have an enormous amount of stress. The weight of the roof on top, high winds. The way this house is built, it should not be a problem. I need to pull this top panel off onto the forklift blades, lower it down to the ground, and set it up so that I can put a 2x12 spline into it. This roof has a different pitch than the other one. First one, the one in front, was a 3 and 12. This one is a 4 and 12, which means this is steeper. Not by much, but by some. Heavy and sharp. sunset is 30 minutes from now. Now, I'm next to a mountain and the sun sets on the other side of it, so the sun went down 30 or 40 minutes ago. That worked out a lot better than I was expecting it to. I'm gonna go ahead and put the plastic cover on this so we can keep it dry and start getting some of this other stuff ready and batten down the hatches because we got weather coming. I appreciate y'all watching. Come on back and check us out again at Breakheart Orchard. And if you haven't done it already, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. Notification bell wouldn't hurt either. We'll see you next time. Looks like we've got an osprey up there. They fly over from time to time. They're probably just coming by to check it out and see how I'm doing. Not what I had planned. That went down a lot harder than I was hoping for. We'll be here. This thing's starting to happen.